Welcome to the 2026 South Florida summer buying season. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm here with a message for you about what you can expect from the Miami Condo Investing Club during this particular summer, which is going from May all the way through to October. One thing you can expect is there's probably going to be a lot of increased activity by buyers who are lowballing those particular sellers who might have bought in 2021, 2022, 2023, when prices were high and work from home people were coming down to South Florida. They were bidding up prices and they were creating all kind of havoc in the condo market. Well, a lot of stuff has changed since then. We are now on the opposite side of the bell curve, if you will. If you were one of those buyers who bought back then and maybe your circumstances changed, maybe you were working on Wall Street back then, you were allowed to come down here because you didn't have to wear a mask. Remember, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said, you don't have to wear a mask. Florida was open for business. A lot of people came down. They started buying condos. You also had the work from home types. Wall Street said, go work from home, use Zoom, use whatever. We don't have a problem with this. A lot of people came down here. And some of you might have came down because Miami Beach said you can get on a police car on Ocean Drive and you could twerk to your heart's content. Those days are gone. We're now in a situation where we're starting to clean up a lot of the irrational exuberance, and we could borrow a phrase coming from former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan. Those days are gone. There's now a cleanup going on in the market, especially because of what happened in Surfside. Nearly 5 years ago, June of 2021, that tower went down, Champlain Tower South. It went down. Nearly 100 people died. Ultimately, a $1 billion settlement was paid out to the families of the victims. And as a result of that, the insurance industry was able to pass legislation. The legislature, wink, wink, was able to pass legislation that now requires all kinds of mandatory inspections, as well as more transparency in the condo association world. Why? Because insurance companies don't want to insure a condo building that might have greater risk than they're aware of. Information is becoming much more available, and as this information becomes much more available to the condo market, what you're finding is the days of kicking the can down the road because condo associations don't want to spend the money, they don't want to raise maintenance fees, all that changed. 2026, condo associations now have to conduct their studies. They're done by licensed architects, licensed engineers. Once the reports are done, they are then handed to the association, and those reports say what is the shelf life of all the critical elements of a condo, and also, too, what it's going to cost to fix it. Condo boards now have to adopt a strategy in order to pay for all of the necessary work to ensure that we do not have another Surfside condo collapse. And as a result of that, maintenance fees are going up. Hefty special assessments are being implemented, as well as insurance. And pricey insurance is higher than it was prior to the Champlain collapse back in June of 21. 5 years ago, if you can believe that. And as a result of that, cost of condo living has gone up significantly. And as condo living has gone up, a lot of people are trying to head for the exits. They're trying to get out. They're trying to basically call it a day, move along. And what they're finding is that sales are finally starting to go up now, just like we anticipated, just like we told you going into November when we had this 2025, 2026 South Florida winter buying season. People have finally started to cut bait on their pricing, and transactions are on the way up, and prices are continuing to unravel. I haven't seen a real big drop yet in terms of average price per square foot, but they're not going up, and they're actually pulling back on a year-over-year basis in the upcoming weeks. We're going to be putting out there all the numbers. We'll be telling you exactly what's going on, but the way we're going to be telling you is going to be a little bit different way, and that is the purpose of this video. We are going to make a pivot over the summer, and we're going to sort of adapt to what members are telling us. And what are members telling us? They're telling us they want the information. They like the real-time information. They don't necessarily have the capacity, because we tend to produce a lot of information. They don't necessarily want to read it all. And we started to make that transition going into the winter, which was November through April, where we were going ahead and we were creating the videos. We've now been doing videos 5 days a week, 4 o'clock weekdays. We're doing a video about what's going on in the condo market. We're giving you intel. We're giving you real-time market-moving type of information so you can go out there and do whatever it is you want to do in the marketplace, whether you're a DIY buyer doing it on your own, maybe you're a buyer working with a realtor, maybe you're a listing agent, you can't unload a property, you're not really sure what's going on, maybe some of the Chamber of Commerce talk you're getting from your broker, it's not necessarily resonating. Well, those are the type of people who are coming to us. Why? Because we're just putting information out there. We're almost like your personal assistant or consultant related to condo stats. We lay it out there straight. We tell you where we got it from, and more importantly, we rely on the institutional knowledge we have. I've been on the ground here since 1993 in South Florida. I was a journalist for 13 years. After that, I set up a buy-side company called Condo Vultures. we were able to go ahead and model condo buildings, model the market, and ultimately take advantage of what was the Great Recession, where we would go in, we were buying condos for, I don't know, 20 cents on a dollar, 30 cents on a dollar, able to buy them very cheap. And as the market turned, well, then we would rent them. As the market turned, we started to unload them. So that was the play. And that led us into what was another boom. And what did we do back then? Once again, we were tracking the numbers. So here we are as we're unraveling again, and we're tracking the numbers. But we're tracking the numbers a little bit different way this time. What we're doing is we're finally moving forward with a plan, with an idea that was first brought up back in 2009, 2010. It's called a Condo Ratings Agency. And what is the agency? We are going to give you we're going to be able to size up what's going on, what's the feasibility, what is the viability of condo associations in the Tri-County, South Florida area. We're going to go through, we're going to bring the expertise that we always bring to condos. Now we're going to start to rate. I want you to think Moody's. I want you to think S&P. I want you to think Fitch. I want you to think all of them. We're going to be rating condo associations based on their feasibility. They make sense. They don't make sense. Remember, everybody tells you location. Well, location doesn't mean anything anymore. Why? Because it's the age of the building, That's because of all the inspections that are now required. You got a structural integrity reserve study required now every 10 years. This is the new law of the land because of Champlain Tower. And at year 30, you got to do a milestone inspection. That's a really in-depth study that's going to basically assess the building and probably bring on a dramatic type of special assessment for any unit owners. We're ballparking the figures because the figures haven't necessarily been studied thus far. We ballpark the figures. If you were in a building that's up to 4 stories and it's 30 years old, you're probably looking at about a $25,000 special assessment. If that building is 5 to 14 stories, call it $65,000. 15 stories or higher, $100,000. We're giving you that type of information so you can understand what's going on in the marketplace. And then another thing we're going to be doing is the Condo Ratings Agency. We'll be giving you an idea what's going on with these buildings. And as part of that, we will also be bringing out another index. You all know about our South Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff Index, where we're tracking what's going on real time in terms of active listings as well as pending sales. If you follow what goes on Wall Street, what they typically say is if you look at unemployment data, it tells you where we were 6 months ago. If you look at the indices, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P 500, the Russell, they're going to tell you where we're going to be in the future. So what we did is we created an index on January the 1st, 2025, in order to give you real-time, week over week, every Tuesday, give you an analysis of what's going on, which markets are hot, which markets are not. So in addition to that index, which we've been doing, and we were able to identify way ahead of anybody else that sales were taking off and pricing was coming down. We could see it based on our week over week index. By the way, if you ever want to see what's going on in that index, because you're a club member, you can see it on Tuesdays. We always release the information on the podcast that we do Tuesdays at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. Let me get it right. Called the Miami Condo Exchange. What's the Miami Condo Exchange? It's a podcast looking at statistical trends going on in South Florida area. And why is it called the Miami Condo Exchange? Because I see condos as if we are in a large trading pit, a trading floor for condos. Silicon Valley does technology. We do condos. Back in the day, before you got on your phone and you ordered a stock or you ordered Bitcoin or crypto or anything else you ordered, options maybe you were shorting a stock, maybe you were going long on a stock. Well, back then you used to have a broker. You'd call that broker up. The broker would call somebody on the floor. Somebody on the floor would write up an order. They'd give it to a runner. The runner would take it to the trading pit where that particular stock was being traded. And ultimately, that's how a deal got done. Well, now when you look at condos in the South Florida area, especially when you're east of Interstate 95 in Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, that's a large trading pit for condos. These are not people looking for a family of 4 and a dog and the American dream type of lifestyle. These are speculators. They want to get in low, and ultimately they want to sell high, inevitably because they don't know what they're doing, or they're getting bad intel, maybe from the sell side brokers, whose role it is to get the highest and best for the seller. But a lot of these people are getting in, and they ultimately end up buying high and selling low. So if you are an opportunist, you're looking to take advantage of all of the shakeout that's occurring right now in this marketplace, I'd encourage you to maybe take a look at the Condo Ratings Agency in addition to the Miami Condo Investing Club. Become a member of the club. So all you got to do, go to the website, miamicondo.club. You'll find all the information there. There you get the information. Sign up for it. You're going to get access to everything. Our Condo Ratings Agency is going to run separate, but we will be sharing all the information from the Condo Ratings Agency. It'll be shared with club members. That's part of what you get for your membership. Once a month, too, as part of the membership, we do a monthly meeting. Meeting goes on for about an hour or so. I tell you, where are we? where were we and where we're going. We're making a change, though, and when we're doing that meeting, we had been doing it for the last 2 years. 2 years I've been doing it. It's a virtual meeting. We had been doing it at noon. We're changing that, though. Guess what time we're doing it? You got it, 4 o'clock. Second Wednesday of every month, we're going to be doing our monthly meeting at 4 o'clock. Why would we do it at 4 o'clock? Because we're doing podcasts at 4 o'clock all week long. So as a result, one Wednesday a month, second Wednesday, we're going to be doing our monthly meeting at 4 o'clock. The other 3 Wednesdays of a particular month, I'll be interviewing somebody that I think you need to know. Somebody needs to be on your radar, somebody who's going to provide you some insight for the condo market, South Florida economy, and all that type of stuff. Let me give you a refresher of all the different podcasts we do. Mondays, I do Miami Condo Mondays with my partner, my co-host, Jenny Huertas. She's over at CVR Realty. Check out her website, cvrrealty.com. Jenny and I, we had a lot of fun during the Great Recession. Jenny's starting to get real interested again about what's happening, what she's seeing. In the meantime, she has a team that specializes in vintage condos. What are vintage condos? Those are the ones that are at least 30 years old. Those are the ones that have to go under the milestone inspection. Those are the ones with the big special assessments. So if you're chasing one of those condos, consider reaching out to Jenny. cvrrealty.com. What does it stand for? Condo Vultures Resale Realty. We set it up, and it was set up to take out people who had bought during the downturn and ultimately help them to cash in on the profit they made. Jenny's continued to keep that going, and she continues to work closely with me on everything that's going on in the condo market. So that is what I do on Mondays. I do a conversation with her. It goes from 4 to 5 o'clock. You guys can always see it at miamicondo.club, and then you can watch it on demand. What we're going to try to do this summer, what we're moving towards is we're going to try to have the video up 30 minutes. You heard me, 30 minutes after the podcast ends. What's been happening is we have to go through, we have to edit it, we have to make some changes, and we also were putting an article along with that particular podcast when we put it up. We're going to stop that. Why? Because time is of the essence. I don't know how many people read it. They don't read it. People are definitely watching the videos. If you look at our statistics, people are watching the video. So what the goal is going to be in the summer, this is going to apply to all our podcasts. We're going to try to get it up 30 minutes after the fact. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to remove the article, which tends to take a lot of time. And what we will do is we will clean up the video really quickly. We'll make sure the sound is good. We'll put out a little template in there. And then in addition to that, we're going to give you the top 10 takeaways that occurred in that particular podcast. It'll give you some details. In addition to that, there'll be a timeline. So you'll be able to look at that timestamp timeline and figure out, okay, what part do I kind of want to watch? So this way you can hear it directly from the horse's mouth, although I like to think I'm better looking than a horse, but you will be able to see it, and that's how we're going to approach the videos. And by doing that, that will simply clear up more time during the summer, because everybody who knows me and has known me, I build stuff during the summer. When I get into the winter, I fasten that seatbelt and I hold on. Because we're in the summer, we are basically going to be building. And one of the things we're building, or one of the primary things we're building, is the condo ratings agency. So I need more time. And in order to have more time, we're removing the articles that will come with our videos. We will give you a top 10 takeaways from each particular video. We'll also give you a timeline so you guys can go through and you can watch it. We're going to continue to broadcast the podcast live at 4 o'clock. They'll be on all the social media sites. So if you tune in at 4, you get to cheat the system and you get to get the information for free. If you can't tune in at 4 o'clock, you're going to have to see it on demand. If you want to see it on demand, you're going to have to be a member of the club, miamicondo.club. So that's one of the things to sort of keep in mind. So we got the condo ratings agency. We got the change in the monthly meeting. It used to be noon, no more. Now it is 4 o'clock. So what I would advise everybody is carve out on your calendar 3:45 to 5:15 every weekday, and you guys will get the latest in-depth understanding, expertise, institutional knowledge about what's going on in the condo market. So 4 o'clock, you will be able to watch it. And if you can't make it live at 4 o'clock, then watch it on demand. And it will be up 1.5 hour, 30 minutes after the podcast ends. That is the goal. That is what we're going to strive towards. I'm sure at the beginning, we might have a little bit of hiccups, but as we proceed and progress, it should be made readily available to you. So if you want to get in a routine, maybe you work in the office and you're heading home, maybe you're riding a train, maybe you're doing whatever, you should be able to expect, hopefully, if we start right at 4 o'clock, half an hour after the fact, you should be able to tune in at 5:30. So maybe it can be part of your commute, it can be part of your whatever. Maybe you want to listen to it while you're at the gym. This will be a regular feature that we've been doing. We've done it for 6 straight months out of the winter, but now we'll be able to provide it much quicker rather than later that evening or even in the morning. The goal now is to make it available so it becomes part of your daily consumption of information that's out there. And increasingly, as we go forward, our paywall is going to get a lot more aggressive. We were during the winter, we were making much more information available. That's coming to an end. Why? Market's changing. As the market changes, the experts out there, they're not really going to know what's going on. They're going to be searching for information. So this will be where you get your market moving intel. You're going to be able to get insights before everybody else on the market. Everybody else can figure it out. Remember, our index, we called the increase in all these sales. We saw it happening. So if you're looking for that market moving information, you want condo information, you want to be able to watch it on demand, join the club. And if you are a club member, we love having you. And let me give you a little tidbit. If you are a club member, make sure you continue to maintain your membership because we just raised the price. I know. Everything's going up. We had to raise the price because of the Straits of Hormuz. Wink, wink. No, we raised the price simply because what we're doing and some of the other things we're doing, and we're going to be added benefit of getting into the condo ratings agency and sharing that information. Now, if you're a club member, whatever your price was continues to be it. But if you are new to market, your price is going up, and I would just sort of suggest to you, by the time we get to the winter, just a little hunch. By the time you get to November and you're going into the winter buying season, when people are really starting to sharpen the knives and go ahead and try to take advantage of some of the deals that are out there, it's probably going to go up again. So whatever it's worth. But if you do, if you are interested in joining the club, if you check it out, the monthly fee, if you were to pay a year at a time, you're going to say basically you're going to get 2 months for free. So in a 12-month cycle, you'll get 2 free months if you prepay for the entire thing. Now, some of you might be looking for something special. You want to basically have me on demand. You want to WhatsApp me. You want to text me. Maybe you want to call me. I'm making myself available. We have a Founders Club membership. So if that's something that you feel like you need, you want to tap into maybe things I'm doing, I'd encourage you to go ahead and consider joining the Founders Club member. If you want to get more information, go to miamicondo.club. At the top, you will see club, and in there, you'll see the different breakdowns between the two formats. So there's a regular membership as well as the Founders membership. And then the free membership, it's going to start to get less and less simply because the market's changing and people are searching for this information. So club members deserve to have that exclusive advantage over everybody else in the marketplace, because very soon it's probably going to get to the point where people are really sort of hunting of information, and some of the hyperbole and some of the spin and some of the chamber of commerce talk that the real estate industry puts out, a lot of that's going to go by the wayside, and people are really going to need straightforward, cutting edge, ahead of the curve, market moving information, and that's what we intend to continue to provide. And I will tell you, a lot of the sell side people who are all gung-ho and happy and stuff, I'm starting to see them out on the street, and they're kind of changing their tune. Now they're trying to rephrase it. Well, it's a healthy, it's a healthy balance, and we're figuring it out. They don't want to tell you they know what's coming. They know that trees do not grow to the moon. They also know that 1,000 people a day aren't coming to Florida. If you look at the latest Census Bureau data that we put out, 67,000 fewer people lived in South Florida, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, as of July of 2025. That doesn't even include 2026. Yeah, you heard me, 2025. That was before the guys with the masks started jumping out of vans, grabbing people, and disappearing them. That was before that. So just imagine what our population numbers are going to be when they release the 2026 numbers. And we will be following that just like we follow everything. Just like we're the ones who told you that Miami International Airport's foreign passenger traffic was down. It was down in 2025 by 1.25%. It's only the fourth time since the beginning of the 2000s that it went down. The last time prior was the pandemic. We're tracking that stuff. You're not seeing that stuff on the street. People aren't telling you that. And if you were trying to take advantage of the market, it's best to know as much as you can. This way you can make educated decisions. Another thing that we were doing during the winter, and we're probably not going to be doing in the summer because time's going to be spent doing other things, is our tours. Our tours. Some of you have asked about going on the bus tours. Some of you asked about going on the walking tours. Some of you have done the walking tours. I know a lot of people who've done the walking tours. They end up doing multiple tours because they absolutely loved it. I gave everybody a list. I gave them a list of all the condo projects that exist in there. We walk around. I tell them about the history. I teach them how to analyze condo buildings. I teach them how to look at the statistics to be able to figure out what's a buy, what's not a buy, which property's in trouble, which property is probably pretty firm. How should you work it on pricing? Well, we're going to be doing tours sporadically. When I say sporadically, I'm saying it long, sporadically. Because I don't think we're going to be doing very many tours this particular summer. Why? Condo ratings agency. We want to have that information locked and loaded. So as we get into the winter buying season, and even before that, people have a good understanding of which buildings are a buy, which buildings are a hold, and which buildings are a sell, sell, sell. So that's what we'll be focusing our time on. So the tours, I'll let you know when we're doing them. It's not going to be as many, though. It's not like we did in the winter where it was every Saturday. But the good news is, if you want to find out what's going on in the winter, maybe some of you are watching this and you don't necessarily live in South Florida, or maybe you're going to be going away, for the summer. If you want to book up tickets in advance for the winter buying season, we've just put out our schedule for the tours we will be doing. We're going to be doing 12 tours. That will be our circuit. That will be our cycle. That will be what we'll be offering. So we will run basically 2 times through in the winter buying season with our tours. We will be doing the Brickell Avenue area. We're going to be doing South Beach, the Gables. We're going to do a downtown Fort Lauderdale. We're also doing this Fort Lauderdale Beach, Hollywood, Hallandale. We're going to have all of them. So if you are interested in any of that, I suggest you check it out. Maybe write it down on the calendar. You don't have to hurry up and buy a ticket right away. It's not going to matter, but that's something to be aware of as you get into the winter buying season. But the summer, grind on the Condo Ratings Agency. That's what it's all about. So let me see here. I'm looking at my notes. I want to see if there's anything that I missed. I don't think I missed anything. I really don't think I missed anything. Let me kind of wrap up this by just sort of telling you what our expectations are, at least going into the summer. Now, I'm going to release my base case for the summer. I'll be releasing that at this month's meeting, the May monthly meeting of the Miami Condo Investing Club. And let me just check the date. I want to say it. Well, I don't want to say anything until I know exactly what the date is, so bear with me. Let me find that date there for everybody. And the date is going to be, let's see here. It will be the 13th. Yep, just like I thought. So on 13th of May 13th, 4 o'clock, not 12 anymore, 4 o'clock, I'm going to be releasing my base case of what to expect from the summer buying season. But to give you a little hint, and I've been sort of alluding to it in recent times, I think the market is basically going to start to get squeezed out. I think a lot of people who are coming here for the World Cup, and this is what sell-side people are banking on. This is what developers are banking on, at least the ones that haven't gone into foreclosure yet. What they're banking on is a lot of people are going to come here to watch the soccer matches, the football matches. Remember, Miami's hosting some matches of the World Cup. That'll be going on in June, July. I don't know how many of them are actually going to be buying. So we'll have to see how that goes. By the way, $250 to park if you want to go to a soccer match, if you want to go out to Hard Rock Stadium. $250. That's just for the parking and no tailgating. So a lot of people, I listen to BBC, a lot of people abroad are like, especially the English, are like, it's a little bit expensive to be going over there, plus everything that's going on with our whole political situation right now. So we'll have to see how many people ultimately end up coming for the World Cup. I'm sure a lot of diehards are going to come. But are they going to buy a condo? And that's what sellers want. That's what they were banking on, because many of these sellers have a certain price in their head, and whether they achieve it or not, that's yet to be determined. That's yet to be seen. We'll kind of have to see how that ultimately plays out. So I think June, July, people are going to be tied up with the World Cup. They may or may not be looking. By the time we get to August, vacation time, everybody seems to go on vacation in August, whether they're going to the Hamptons, they're going to North Carolina, maybe they're in Canada, maybe they're in Europe, maybe they're somewhere else, but they all tend to leave town. Why? The kids are going back to school at the end of August, and as a result of that, the first half of August, people tend to disappear, and also, too, the hurricane season really starts to ratchet up in and around August. So August, I think, is probably going to be a dead month like it always is. That's why you got Miami Spice, where the restaurants discount their prices and they offer a packaged meal basically to keep the lights on. They introduce their product to different people. But that's why Miami Spice was created. I don't know how many years, probably 20 years ago or so. Then we get into Labor Day. We passed Labor Day, the first Monday in September, and that's typically when you start to see it ratchet up, and it shows in our South Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff Index. The Condo Cliff Index, basically, it shows in there. Well, I'm not sure what's going to happen this year, because in November, we have will be the midterm elections. Probably going to be a contentious midterm election. As a result of that, some people don't like to buy when you don't know what's going on in Washington. A presidential election year is always a challenging time. Well, these midterms are probably going to be a pretty interesting time as well. So we'll have to see if anybody's willing to pull the trigger in September and October leading up to that election in the beginning of November. So Washington could be changing, or maybe it's going harder the way it's the route or path it's still on. So this is what's we're kind of looking at. So where am I going with all this? I got a feeling if you bought a condo in 2021, 2022, 2023, and you got called back to New York, you got called back to Silicon Valley, you're trying to rent out your place and you're finding that the rent is not covering and you want to sell, and therefore you tried to get the price you paid during this winter buying season when we were telling everybody, listen, be bold, cut your price, get out. Got a feeling your next shot at selling one of these units, unless there's a big price discount, probably not coming until around Thanksgiving when people start to come back into this marketplace. So that's something for everybody to kind of keep in mind. Now, if you're a data-driven buyer and you're coming here to basically, you're looking for a deal, this will be a great time, I think, for you to start lowballing these sellers. You need to beat them down. You need to soften the target because of everything that's going on. Mortgage rates are closer to 7 than they are to 5. There's some kind of halo effect that comes supposedly once they get south of 5. Well, it looks like it might be a little bit of a while. We got a new Federal Reserve Board chairman. He wants to cut rates, although, the last meeting of the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee, they were suggesting there's going to be some pushback. So a lot of things are uncertain. We all know what's going on with gas. Last time I looked, $4.39 a gallon, I think, is the average throughout the United States. Affordability is an issue, and affordability is a tremendous issue going on in condos because all these condos have to fix up and make up for all of the money they didn't spend before when they were deferring. Can't defer it anymore. Now you got to start to spend the money. You got to raise the money, which means maintenance fees go up. Special assessments are put in place, and insurance. We all know the horror story of insurance. So good time to be a buyer. Low ball. A seller, you better figure out something because you might be sitting on that condo unless you take a dramatic price cut. Might be sitting on it until Thanksgiving when we're talking about turkey. We're talking about ham. We're talking about yams. We're talking about stuffing. We're talking about pecan pie. We're talking about what football teams are playing. You might be stuck with that condo for quite some time. And here's the problem. If you cannot sell and you need to, by the time you get to November, guess what? The new Condo Association budget for 2027, it's coming out. And who wants to bet me that the prices are only going up and they're not going down in these condo associations? And that's something you need to watch for. So everybody, I hope you had a tremendous winter buying season. This is the most active winter buying season that we have had, the most active time that we've seen since we set up the Condo Cliff Index on January 1st, 2025. Why is it active? People are cutting prices. So if you're a buyer, I hope you're having some success. I hope things are working out for you. And if you're a seller, I hope you're able to figure out a way to kind of navigate through this. And if you're in a luxury condo or a super luxury condo or an ultra luxury condo, good luck to you because there is no transactions going on. I don't care what all of the hyperbole is. I don't care about how this guy's buying and Mark Zuckerberg and Larry Page of Google. It's not having an impact on the condo. It's just not. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know what they're maybe, I don't know what they're doing, but the numbers are not bearing that out. But yet, let me just give you a little tell. If you guys are seeing a lot of developers come on podcasts and talk about stuff, you know why they're doing that? They don't want popularity. They need to calm the market. They need to try to inspire people to come in. Guess why? They're not selling. They threw everything against the wall. Some of them didn't stick. According to South Florida Business Journal, a Mercedes-Benz project in the Brickell Avenue area of Greater Downtown Miami, the most popular area in all the land for condos. Mercedes-Benz, a branded condo, goes into foreclosure, according to South Florida Business Journal. So I'm just sort of saying believe what you see in your eyes. You see it. You can see it with your eyes. Believe it. Do not believe a lot of the hyperbole that's out there. And if somebody is telling you it's a great story and everything is great, ask them if they were on the buy side or if they're on the sell side. If they're on the sell side, understand their role is to try to drive up the price as high as possible. And on the buy side, you do the opposite. That is the yang to the yin, which is the sell side of the equation. So let me just recap everything. Remember, 4 o'clock weekdays, we're doing these podcasts, and we are going to publish within 30 minutes after podcast ends. They will be live at 4 o'clock. So if you want to tune in at 4 o'clock, we welcome you. We encourage you. If you can't make it, on demand, you'll be able to see all of these videos on demand. They'll be available at start at 4, right on the dot. We might be a little bit late. It's Miami. 30 minutes after it concludes, it will be made available for you to watch it. So if you're driving home, you're on the train, you're doing whatever, maybe you're going to the gym, maybe you're walking, you're going to be able to get it each and every day, a half an hour after our podcast ends. Remember, Mondays is Miami Condo Mondays, Tuesdays is Miami Condo Exchange. That's where I talk about the Condo Cliff Index. We give you an update week over week what's going on. Wednesdays, the Peter Zalewski Show, one-on-one conversation with somebody I think needs to be on your radar. Somebody's going to give you some information you're not getting anywhere else on the street, whether it's mortgages, it's developers, it's anything. Like I just had a podcast with a developer. This guy was building a rental. He says the rental market is way overbuilt. So you know what he's doing? He's pivoting from rentals into condos. He's building this place in Little Havana. So that's the type of information you're getting. You're not going to hear about that in the real estate industry. They're not going to be telling you that stuff. They're going to be telling you about things that they necessarily need. They're not going to tell you that the rental market looks like it might be collapsing, especially on the REIT side, which could be bad news if you are a condo owner and you're looking to rent out your place. So why? Because the big dogs, they can ultimately cut their prices low enough because they have a long enough runway or trajectory in order to hold it. A one-off unit owner might not necessarily work as well. So every Wednesday, the Peter Zalewski Show, I'm going to introduce you to somebody I think is important. And remember, on the second Wednesday of every month, 4 o'clock, no longer noon, no longer 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock on the second Wednesday of the month. Instead of doing a Peter Zalewski Show, we're doing the virtual monthly meeting. That monthly meeting, second Wednesday of the month. On Thursdays, we do Condo Capitalism. It is a distress podcast. We talk about what's going on in the stress market, whether it be real estate owned, foreclosure, short sales, bank owned, all of it. We're going to get into that on Thursdays. And then finally on Fridays, we do the buy, sell, hold Miami podcast. I do it with my partner over there, Daniel Hernandez over at Compass Real Estate. It's a bull versus bear type of discussion. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoy that podcast. It's sure to see, both sides of the trade, if you will. So 5 days a week, 4 o'clock. We're going to continue to do it half an hour after the podcast's over. It will be available for you. No longer going to be doing the stories. We're going to be doing the top 10 takeaways like we do right now, as well as a timeline so you can watch it. And this is something you guys should be able to bank on. Monthly meetings, always second Wednesday of every month, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Some of you might be asking about the meetups. We got to put the meetups on hold for the summer. We're going to bring them back when we get into the winter buying season. Before the summer, it's all hands on deck to get the condo ratings agency going. Something I've been thinking about for 15 years. Why? Because banks want to know what they're financing if they're holding the mortgages on some of these condos that are not conventional. And you know who they're coming to. So we got to do it. We got to drive it through, and we got to have it ready before winter. And because you're a member of the club, you're going to be able to get access to it. We will also be making it available otherwise, but the club members will get access to it. Those of you who are a club member, continue to pay what you're paying because we've just raised the prices. Prices have gone up for the summer, and they're probably going up for the winter. So whenever you got it in, lock it in. If you're looking to save money, sign up for a year. You're going to get 2 months free, basically, on that monthly fee. And anything else to remind you of? No, I think that is it, so everybody. So welcome to South Florida 2026. Summer buying season, which will go from May through October. This is going to be a fantastic time for buyers, sellers. Maybe not so much, but it doesn't mean that there's not a trade or a transaction that can take place. There's always a trade. It's just you got to put the information out there. You got to make it transparent. People got to be able to come up with their own base case as to why they should go in or maybe why they shouldn't. And we want to be your source for that information so you can go out there and you can make your decisions about how everything's going. So remember, I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. Welcome to the 2026 South Florida summer buying season. And check out our website, miamicondo.club. And if any of you are looking for the tours, they're starting again in November, although we will have some sporadic ones. You want to get information on the tours, go to our ticketing broker, which is called Eventbrite. You can get there by going to miamicondoclub.eventbrite.com. Take care, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic summer, and maybe I'll see you at a FIFA World Cup game. Ciao, ciao.